Devin Booker did his share well for the Suns, but the Bucks get the win tonight, and that leads us to our post-game coverage here on NBA TV. Game Time live at the finals, presented by YouTube TV. Great to have you with us. That's Isiah Thomas. That's Steve Smith. I'm Matt Weiner. We got Suns fans. They're not sure what to do with themselves right now, to be honest. Yes. The team lost. They're on TV. They want to celebrate, but they know they lost, and so how do they handle that? This was just a great game, by the way.
It is. At both teams, Isiah, Matt, it was fantastic to watch. This was unbelievable to get a chance to see how these teams competed. We call Gary Payton the glove. I call Kyle Korver the mitten. Drew Holiday is claws. Claws when got it. Yeah.
He was amazing on both ends of the floor.
You know, we said before the game how we thought that he would be better offensive tonight, better offensive assists, and, you know, 3 steals. I mean, just a overall great basketball game that he played tonight.
Coming off a 4 for 20 game, remember, in Game 4. At one point tonight, he'd hit 10 of his first 13 shots. He hit his first shot of the game, and you could sort of see it building as the confidence grew for Drew Holiday, and the shots started falling.
And I think reason why, Matt, is we all know they got a chance, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, to be able to handle the basketball and not Giannis bringing it up.
Yep.
Giannis still had 32 points, but he doesn't have to be an initiator. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton getting a chance to run, pick and roll. They are the guards,
yes,
and I think it puts them back in their natural position. Also, we know Giannis is one of those freak of nature players. He can handle and make plays, but it helps those guys out, Isiah, in my opinion. They get to handle the basketball. They're not ball watching.
Without a doubt. Not only do they get to handle the basketball, but it puts them in an offensive rhythm. And as you pointed out earlier, you know, with Middleton playing in the mid-range and Holiday being able to post up, those guys can come off, they can get into their comfort zone, and they can make shots.
Yeah, it was pretty apparent from the start that this was going to be the plan for Milwaukee, with Holiday and Middleton handling the ball more early in offense. And Giannis' shots really a result of whatever happened in the offensive flow.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, a couple of games ago we talked about how they need to get Giannis into the mid-post. And as opposed to having him penetrate the basketball from the perimeter, you can also penetrate the basketball on the pass inside the post. And this is what they've been doing for Giannis in terms of getting him into the mid-range, letting him play closer to the basket, letting him dominate. And then when he gets closer to the basket, Ayton is backing up, giving him space. And consequently, you know, with his guard skills and his dribbling skills, he can get downhill and get to the basket.
Well, both teams have tightened up their rotations. Both played only 8 tonight for the Bucks, almost 7. And Pat Connaughton was the big one of those 3 off the bench tonight with 14 points on 4 of 6 shooting from three-point range, and he's with us from the floor here in Phoenix. Pat, congrats on the win tonight. You guys are down 16 a couple of different times in the first quarter of this game. What was said amongst you?
Just stick with it. You know, we came out, and I don't think any of us thought we were playing the brand of basketball that we had to play. You know, they were motivated. They're great in this building, and we knew we had to be a little bit tougher, a little more attention to detail on the defensive end, and make sure that we're making them take some tougher shots.
Pat, Steve Smith, fantastic game for you, but your last 6 games, you're shooting the lights out of it. I followed you and watched you in college. I love the confidence. I also love that you changed your game up because you can put it on the floor.
What the defense gives you. And like you said, sometimes it requires you to drive a little bit more, but right now the shots are open, and I got to make sure I just look at the front of the rim, shoot it, and make sure that mental toughness is there, because you're going to have down nights. You're going to have nights where you don't feel like you shot it as well as you could have, but you can't let that affect the next game, one shot at a time.
Pat, can you talk about just the confidence that you guys have in Holiday's defensive abilities, and also how Portis has come off the bench and given you guys a big lift?
Yeah, I mean, Drew, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league, but defensively he shows it on a nightly basis. His aggressiveness on both ends of the floor, he's shown on a nightly basis, and regardless of you know, what the statistic shows, he's a winner. And at the end of the day, we got a lot of winners. You mentioned BP. He brings that energy, that tenacity on a nightly basis as well, and those are the types of things that I think win championships. Those are the types of things that put you in a position to compete for championships. And so to have those 2 guys on my team has been a blessing, and it's been a lot of fun to play aside next to them.
Pat, you're 1 away from a title, and now 15 of 30 from three-point range in these NBA Finals. Congrats on the night and the win. Good luck back in Milwaukee.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Pat Connaughton with us here now on NBA TV. 15 of 30. Coming off the bench. I mean, it's a new era, I know. Threes are wide open. They got a ton of wide open corner threes tonight, which Phoenix will have to investigate for Game 6.
He said it best. He's ready. He's mentally tough. And you have to be able to come off the bench, not warm. And the only shot you're getting is flat-out spot-up shots.
Yeah.
He was a kid in college. Isaiah put it on the floor and got into a rhythm. That's a different mindset, and he's knocking them down, and he's not hesitating at all.
Nope.
Yeah, and to his credit, as you said, Smitty, you know, the way he played in college and now the way he's playing in the NBA, you know, sometimes you have to adjust your game to do what's best for the team so you can win. And you may not be able to bring all of your skill sets to the table, but what he's bringing to the table is the most important thing they need right now, and that's his three-point shooting.
All right, star of the night, Drew Holiday, and he is with us as well from the floor. And there he is, 12 of 20 from the field, 27 points, 4 boards, 13 assists. Those are all numbers, though. Drew, you had one of the plays that will be replayed for decades. One of the plays of NBA Finals history with the steal on Devin Booker and then setting up Giannis. If you can walk us through what you saw and what happened in those few seconds.
Man, Book's a great player and scorer, especially down the stretch. I think we kind of knew that he wanted the ball and he wanted to take that last shot. So I helped off on Chris. And again, granted to our defense, we played great defense, tucked there with the stop, and then turned right into me and got the steal. And from there, going down in transition, man, Giannis was screaming for it, and I threw it as high as I could. And he went up there and got it.
Drew, Steve Smith, just the presence of mind to make that pass. But I want to go back. Before you got on air, we all called Gary Payton the glove. I gave you the nickname Claws because Claws is go get it. I mean, your defensive pressure, not only just on that play, throughout this series and throughout your career, I mean, for me is to have a guy that be able to play offense the way you can and defense. Can you just talk about your defensive presence and your mindset guarding multiple guys?
Yeah, man, I take pride in it. 1 through 4, sometimes 5. Try to make it difficult. But in a situation like this where we're in the finals, to me, yes, I do want to score, but that's not the most important thing. We got Giannis, we got Chris, we got guys that can score, but I really want to make it hard for them defensively, keep them hopefully to 100 points, 105, and do the best I can and really just take pride in my defense.
Drew, I know how hard it is to play against one of the best point guards to ever play the game in terms of Chris Paul. Comes out in game 1, really plays well, has 32 points, and really looks like he's in control of the series from the point guard position. Game 2, he plays well. But 3, 4, and 5 right now, you've kind of put him in a position where he's not dominating the game, even though he's still effective. Talk to us about what you've done and the adjustments that you've made from game 2 to now 3, 4, and 5 on the defensive side of the ball with Paul.
Yeah, I think just make it difficult. Just be a pest, always be around, picking up full court. We know that he's the head of the stake, and they go as far as he does, especially with his assists, especially tonight. He probably had 10 assists tonight, but I think the way that those first 3, 4, and 5 this game, the way we kind of controlled him, corralled him, and made him think about what he wanted to do helped us out a lot.
Drew, there's been a lot of discussion, obviously, about your shooting struggles in this series, including the 4 of 20 in Game 4. Tonight, you hit your first jump shot on the very first possession of the night, and it seemed like you were just off to the races at that point. Can you put into words how you were 8 shots better on the same 20 attempts tonight?
No, it was just confidence, really. Just go out there and shoot. Sometimes you go through a slump, sometimes and you try to figure it out. Even the 4 for 20, I feel like I played great defense and we won the game. And when it comes down to that, winning is the most important thing. I know my teammates have my back, continuing to tell me to shoot. And that's what I did tonight.
Drew, a question for me is, you, Chris, and Giannis, obviously you're good leaders of this team, especially on the offensive end. But can you speak on how Pat Connaughton and Bobby Portis, what those guys are doing and bringing off the bench, what they're bringing to the table off the bench?
Yeah, man, huge. Pat he's been hitting some big shots, making some big plays, big rebounds. That's just something that Pat has always done, and the energy that Bobby brings, man, nobody else can do that. When he's flexing on people, when he's getting those offensive rebounds, and he's yelling at the camera and all that, we love it, and the energy definitely picks up.
You're one game away from possibly being an NBA champion. Talk to us a little bit about how it feels to just be this close and how far you've come personally and how far your team has come.
Yeah, one game away. We want to celebrate it tonight, but we can't get too high on the horse. We know the last game is the hardest game to win, game 4. So we really just got to take it this next game. Hopefully we get back home with the energy of our crowd. We know what they're going to do, come out, play desperate, and we got to be able to do the same thing.
Another impressive two-way night for Drew Holiday. We appreciate your time. Enjoy the flight back to Milwaukee, and good luck closing this thing out.
I will.
Claws. That's claws right there, Zeke.
Drew Holiday. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard is calling.
Yeah, he just got one claw. This is
Just one claw.
claws.
Okay. All right.
Well, hooks. We're going to like hooks.
Hey,
Drew got some Jimmy Goldstein time there.
I'm going to call him. I don't want to see you.
I was joking during the game that Devin Booker's going to wake up somewhere over the Pacific on his way to Tokyo and realize that Drew Holiday's still guarding him on the plane.
Hooks. Rest in peace, Debo.
Let's get to Mike Budenholzer. The Arizona native gets a win on the road here in Phoenix, and his Bucks are a win away from a title.
Just that steal by Drew late. Obviously, he's making such an impact defensively the entire night. But just can you take us through that sequence? Obviously, he gets the steal, but then also the alley-oop with the shot clock off.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought, the steal earlier in the game was a big play. And then the steal late, just, I think it's just an instinctive play. He's incredible defender and strong hands and got in there and took it. And, I think, probably most times you want to just pull it out and run the clock. But Drew and Giannis in a 2-on-1 and just to put 2 points on the board, I think just, trusting their instincts, trusting them, Giannis getting a bucket and putting us up, I think that made it 4 or 5. But they're playing, they're competing, and that's what we need.
Obviously, when you guys got Drew, you knew what kind of defender he was. But, I mean, this is 40 minutes a night, Paul and Booker. Just what have you seen from this series? Especially, it didn't start out well, but now he's kind of found a groove.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, his ability to impact the ball, just make everybody uncomfortable. You never know when he might, get a steal, get a deflection. I think it all just adds up. And, he had a huge stretch there. And I think his stretch was maybe the third quarter. But all three of the guys, Giannis, Chris, Drew, all making plays defensively, stepping up offensively. But, yeah, Drew's impact defensively, it's a big part of the reason why he's such a good fit with us.
Rohan, you're on the right.
Bucks can close it out Tuesday night in Milwaukee. Here's Devin Booker after his second straight 40-point finals game.
We came out and did what, we intended to do, get off to a great start. And, we let it go. They stayed resilient and they kept playing through. So, tough loss for us.
Well, Devin, you've talked about learning what you've learned in the playoffs is that it's a series, that it's not just one game. So just speak to that mindset of going back to Milwaukee, knowing you get that when you'll be back here for a Game 7.
I mean, one at a time. Our focus is the Milwaukee right now. That's how you have to do these series, one game at a time. And, that's it.
Dave, here in the front.
Look, I wanted to ask you about the play. You guys are down 1. You're coming down the court. You pick up your dribble around the foul line, and then Drew comes in. Just what were you seeing on the court in that moment? And when you kind of had a little bit of a transition opportunity, what were you seeing as you surveyed the court?
I was just trying to score the ball. He was behind me. I turned, and he was right there.
Over on the right side. Go ahead.
Hey, Devin. Obviously you had a great night, but it seemed like a lot of times that there was a lot of isolation. There wasn't a ton of ball movement. I know you talk about 0.5, and there weren't many of those possessions. Did you think things got, and maybe this for Chris too, that things were just too isolated and stagnant on offense for too long during the night?
Yeah, the whole third quarter, was pretty much that. We were trading basket for, I think, 5 minutes straight. But, we're at our best when we get stops and get out in transition. So, I always say we hang our hat on the defense end, and that's where we have to be better.
And Chris, what did you think about just kind of the ball movement? And did you feel it got a little stagnant at times?